Good afternoon, everyone out there in YouTube land. My name is Jared, and this is my channel, Mazda B3K. This is a Will It Run episode for the new purchase behind me, a 1989 Ford F350 7.3 liter IDI Diesel. Without further ado, let's get to it. So to get you guys caught up, this is a newest purchase for me. This is actually to ultimately replace my 2001 F350 you guys have seen on the channel. This is a 1989 Ford F350 7.3 liter IDI International Harvester / Navistar diesel. And for its age, it's in pretty amazing shape. Paint is so-so. Check out this back bench. Dang. The door cards are in good shape. The doors themselves are in pretty decent shape. We have a large duct tape seat for the driver, approved. The rest of the bench is good. The carpet's in good shape. Ignore the metal shavings. That's from some work I've already done. And the dash is in one piece. All the trim is here. Headliners would be but otherwise this thing is really good. I've checked most of the signals and everything. They work. I've just finished rebuilding the entire steering column. It had a bad ignition switch, a bad actuator rod, and I had to drill out the lock cylinder. So that was fun. I did record all that. The videos will go on the channel. These tires are shot. They hold air, but they're not safe for the road. We have all of our light buckets. They're all in good shape. Most of our plastic up here is in pretty good shape. We did get 2 fresh batteries with this purchase. We do have this though. I'm gonna have to get a diagram and figure out what the hell happened here because it's a mess. And we had stuff that at some point got hot. See that? I gotta address that. We got some butt splices. They're kind of sketch, and it's a thing. According to the previous owner, he swore up, down, left, and right he was able to get this thing to crank and run, and it ran great, and he drove it around his property, Because the lock cylinder had gotten jammed up, I was able to get the rod and try to start this thing, but all I can hear is the solenoid engaging on the starter. I don't hear the starter itself turning over. So I'm going off the previous owner's word that indeed this thing does run. Still has the original paint tag here. It's kind of cool. But in order to get it to fit on the trailer over here, we had to take, it is a dually, we had to take the outer tires off. And amazingly, one of these tag lights actually works. Bumper's in really good shape. Did not come with a tailgate because this is set up for a gooseneck, and I'm assuming gooseneck people in the comments, you can tell me, but that tailgates and goosenecks don't get along, depending on the design, I guess. But pretty much all the pieces are here except for the strap, so eventually I will be replacing the tailgate. The bed itself is in pretty good shape. It's got some surface rust, but I took a look under this liner and it looks pretty good. So all in all, very happy with this purchase considering it's a 1989. But let's get down to the meat of the matter. As I mentioned, now that I've rebuilt the column, and even before then, I can show it to you. There's a long metal rod that reaches out to the ignition switch, and if your key's not working, you can take this trim off and then get some pliers or something on this rod, and you can move it back and forth. You move it all the way down until it can't move no more, and that is start. You should hear, if you have key power, you should hear the starter try to turn over. And what we've got, I disconnected the battery, but as I just get the solenoid. So where we're at is I went ahead and checked my battery connections, and you know, they're well beaten. Somebody, I think, was basically using a hammer to put these on and off, but they're not really corroded, the connectors themselves. The wires, on the other hand, ugh, they're not great. You know, if you look here at this positive, we have corrosion fuzzies both sides. It's not great. The ground wire is exposed for this battery over here, and it looks marginal. So this could be a bad wire issue. I may need to go through and just replace all of this. I don't think it's that bad though, so I'm leaning towards a starter that has given up from probably excessive cranking. But where we are is I am taking that starter off so I can get it to the local parts store, have them test it, and see if indeed that is the problem. So on that note, step one before you go play with your starter, get your batteries, plural, right, two, disconnected. I've got the negative off of each battery. Circuit is broken. I did learn the hard way that if one battery is connected, it will actually still supply power to the truck. Scared the crap out of me. I'm brand new to diesel, so the guys in the diesel people can yuck in the comments. I earned that one. So let's go below and let's figure out what size it is and see what we got to do to get it off. Alrighty folks, I'm going to point some stuff out and then we're just going to kind of get to it. So you see that brown wire up there? That's the signal wire for the solenoid. The nut holding that is a 5/16. Big nut holding the power to the solenoid is a I can see the label. That's an 11/16, and then our actual starter bolts here are 1/2. So I'm going to get everything off the solenoid first. Be careful you don't reef on the plastic too hard, it will break. Ask me how I know. There are 3 bolts on the starter. The third one is a little bit behind the solenoid. So you have 2 options to get to it. You can either get a short wrench in there, loosen her up and go that way, or you get a socket and you get a bunch of extensions and you extend your way past the lengths of the starter, get on it, and you get it out over here in front of the I-beam, and you crank on it over here. After you break it loose, get it out. So I'm going to get on this and I will bring you back when I have starter on the ground, because unfortunately I don't have the right tooling to film this. And here it is. So one thing I can tell you is that this bottom bolt, the transmission lines are going to get all up in your business when you try to get this bolt out. So just keep that in mind. I still made this my last bolt. I thought that was the easiest thing to do. It worked out fairly well, particularly since I'd already gotten everything off the solenoid. So that worked out. Oh, I missed one. Here it is. Yeah. So it worked out pretty well. And here we are. I will throw this on a towel that I don't care about and take it to the local auto parts store. We'll have them test it and see what they come back with. Good morning, everyone. Today is a new day. So I took the starter yesterday to the local auto parts store. They determined it to be bad. Got the new one, threw it on the bench tester to verify that, yep, the other one was bad. So I have installed it's a reman, but it's installed. And this is our first attempt to crank. And let's see what we get. Okay, we have crank. This is good. And there's my poor glow plug relay, not really doing stuff. Okay. Anyway, we now have crank, so one step closer. Okay, so here's the situation. When I crank, I'm seeing oil pressure, which is good. And as you heard earlier, it's pretty even when it's spinning. So I don't think we have a situation of where we got a cylinder missing or we have uneven compression. So that's pretty good. As you can see, cinder's goofed up. It says I have more diesel than I know what to do with. All that's fine and dandy. The Schrader on the fuel separator over yonder is in really sad shape, and every time I hit it there is pressure in there and I'm belching out a bunch of air, but I don't know if I have air intrusion somewhere else in the system. So what I'm going to do, just to see if we just have an air problem, is I'm going to go ahead and take the hat off, and I'm going to give her a whiff of ether and see if she responds for me, just so I know that the engine itself is okay and I just need to work on air issues. Because honestly, because the cinder's bad, I don't know if I've got fuel in the tank that I'm trying to pull from. And also, it seems like someone installed an electric pump in the other tank, and as I understand it, this truck did not come with electric inline in-tank pumps. It has a mechanical lift pump on the block, and then you've got your big injection pump. So I have concerns about trying to get diesel out of that tank until I figure out what's going on. All right, you ready, bro? Yep. Hit it. There you go. So if we can get her fuel, she'll start. It's quite nice. Give you guys a quick update. Basically what I found out is my actuator valve that switches between tanks is probably stuck on the front tank. When you try to hit it to the back tank, it just goes brrr, and it sounds like a fuel pump. But I checked. Both these tanks only have cinders going up to them. I actually traced the wires. So the rear tank is slap full of diesel. It's going to be real fun to drop it eventually. I'm going to have to drain it, then drop it. That's an idea. Front tank, we just put a couple gallons of diesel in, so hopefully we'll get that up to the mechanical pump and we can get all the air out and maybe get this thing to bark off. All right, adding some fuel to the front tank did the trick. We got the air out of the line and we're idling. I mean, fuel pressure looks good. Obviously, I got to check a couple other things now that we're idling, but there you go. Will she run? Yes, she will. Good morning, everyone. Today is a new day. So, indeed, it will run. Definitely have some problems. It doesn't appear that the alternator is charging. I also discovered that this guy does not want to go into closed loop and stay running. It bobbles, it'll shut off, does all sorts of fun things. And I think that's related to this. This poor thing is the EEC relay, and that's the EEC pigtail. And that's a fancy name that's for the engine computer. This does have one. And though the engine itself is purely mechanical and can run without a computer, I think for closed loop operations, it still needs that computer. So once it warms up and tries to go to closed loop, it goes, starts doing weird stuff. Good news is I got some parts today, and I will address that in other videos. But for now, I just wanted to say, yep, it's running, but we still have a lot of challenges to go, like this. There's this whole mess like I pointed out, and then we have mouse damage we got to deal with too. That's gonna do it for this video. Thank you for watching. If you found this video interesting, if you found it entertaining, if it was worth your time, please consider sharing, and subscribing. That does help to grow the channel, which allows me to bring you more content like this. Also, please leave a comment. I like to read them, I like to reply to them, and I also like to learn from them. And remember, guys, I make mistakes like buying rust buckets like this, so you don't have to. I'll catch you guys next episode.